Hey everyone. So I know it's been a couple of days since I've given an update on Abby and Arlo, the two puppies that we pulled from Dallas Animal Shelter that had several issues going on. So let me kind of catch you up to speed with what's been going on with them. So, first of all, if you have donated, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to donate to help save a dog's life. The Lord cares for all that he has made, and it says the righteous man cares for his animals. And these are God's creatures that are helpless. They are not able really to defend themselves. And if they do defend themselves, they get euthanized. So I really appreciate you sewing into this. And also, we don't have backup funds for this. Like we run as a brand new rescue. So I've been doing it for a long time, but we're officially a nonprofit now as a rescue. So this is all just starting to come into play where we can take donations and things like that. So it's super helpful if you feel led to give anything. We do have three or four right now in our sanctuary. Our PayPal is at Shalom Sanctuary One. So Shalom is SHALOM, and then Sanctuary, the number one, is our PayPal. But that is because we restore dogs to wholeness and help them live into their fullest potential. I'm not here just to save a dog and then rehome it. Like I'm going to train it, I'm going to get it back to health and at its best, his or her best. That way, when they go back into society and find a home, they're going to be successful in that home. I also offer free consults as well and follow up training for any of the adoptees of our dogs in the Shalom Sanctuary. So that's kind of a benefit to being a trainer is I really get to help the dogs stay in the home. Most dogs are returned to the shelter once they're adopted after, I mean, even just within the same 7 days, but even really within those first 21 days. And the issue with that is that it takes 21 days for a dog to decompress after coming out of the shelter. So, with that being said, we're starting to see their personalities come alive. Um, Very frustrating fact. So I'm just going to kind of fill in some gaps real quick. On the first day that the Lord really put it on my heart to get them, I knew that it was the Lord because Robin was in agreement and he's not usually in agreement with rescuing another dog. So it just depends on the dog and if it's the right time and our resources at the time and things like that. But we just knew we had to do this out of faith and we were both in agreement on it, right? That's how a good marriage works, right? We get agreement and then we move forward on something. And so Robin was good with it and he said, let's do it. So I went and checked out the dogs. When I went and saw them originally at the shelter, they were completely emaciated and they wagged their tails. And Arlo, the boy, tried to come up to see me and he could just sit down at the little gate barrier, kennel barrier to where I could pet him through the gate, but he couldn't walk around and do things like that. Like a puppy should be, excited and running around and playing. And he just wasn't able to do that. And Abby came up to me. She tried to. She took a couple steps, wagging her tail, and then she just went back to her place cot and laid down because she just did not feel good enough to move. So there's going to be more coming on this. I am going to open a lawsuit as well against the shelter because here's the thing. They would not let me foster them. They said it's because of Texas law without them getting spayed and neutered. And they're just babies, right? They're just puppies. And not only that, but they were on antibiotics for a cough. So they assumed that they had kennel cough or something going on, but they didn't have a PCR or any type of lab testing done. So they just threw whatever they could at them, and that was it. Okay. Um, so these dogs were like super severely sick. And also as an RN and as an experienced dog trainer and an experienced dog mom, and a parent, like I just know when something's off. I know I'm not ignorant. I'm actually very well trained in these things. So I brought it to the attention of the front desk that they were very sick and that they needed a vet to see them right after I left. Like they needed to go get a vet and then bring the vet back to see the dogs that they were very sick. And I couldn't really feel them. They didn't want me to go in the kennel to sit with them, which is all I wanted to do. I just wanted to go in and sit and cry with them because they were just so alone and they were found as strays. Their paw pads are really messed up, which is a telltale sign that they've been on the streets for a very long time. Because that really damages the paw pads when you're walking around on concrete a lot or rocks or whatever. Most indoor dogs, or even outdoor dogs that have a yard don't have destroyed paw pads. So I knew that they had no one to love them. So all I wanted to do was just sit and love them. And which, by the way, they were supposed to be euthanized that day that I went and adopted them just a few hours later. So I went and told the front desk they need to be seen. Can I sit with them? They said, no, you can't sit with them. They don't even get to go out and go potty because they're isolated because they're sick and that could spread it, just coming out of their kennels, etc. So it was like super sad scenario. And kind of a side note, while I was there, I had this lady come up to me. She said it was her first day on the job. And she just walked up and said, God has given you a healing ministry and a healing ministry specifically for dogs. And I was like, well, actually, we are ministers. We do have we do healing in our ministry. But yes, I do believe that I'm called to, and we're called to bringing healing to dogs and that shalom wholeness, right? So someone came up to me, I'd never met her before. It was our first day on the job, didn't even know if I was a Christian, didn't know anything about me, just walks up and says, you have a healing ministry. And that the Lord has placed on your life. And that's not even the beginning of the words that I've gotten about this. And I did have to have, God confirm these prophetic words to me to know that this is what I'm supposed to spend my time doing. And it's just been beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is it. And of course we help babies, we help single parents, we help all kinds of people, but this is one of my really big passions. So yes, we help people, but we also really help animals. And there have been some people that have an issue with that, but I don't really care because that goes against what the Bible says, that we're supposed to care for and love them. And if they don't have anyone to defend them, we're supposed to defend the defenseless and bring justice, where we can help those that don't have it. And so, and the homeless and things like that, they're homeless, right? Okay. So fast forward, I picked them up the next day and they went through their surgery. They wouldn't let me bring them home to heal before surgery because that was my question, was like, they need to come home and recover before they go to surgery because they might not make it through. They are sick. I'm trying to tell them these dogs are sick. Okay. So they refused that. But I just wanted to get them out of there, not euthanized. So I just agreed because I had no other choice at the time. So when I pick them up, they can't walk. They can't, they're not wagging their tail. They're not lifting their head. They're just laying down. They had to be carried out and then they wouldn't be picked up once they were sat down, or they wouldn't stand up once they were sat down. And we just put them into the kennel in my vehicle, into their kennels, and they just laid there, coughing, breathing so hard that their chest was rattling. I have videos of Abby, literally sounded like the death rattle. I knew that her lungs were filled with fluid. So immediately I asked the person who was discharging them to me at the shelter, and I said, so did the vet go see them? Did they follow up and do chest x-rays? Like I asked, were they given fluids? Was anything done for them at all? And she was like, let me go check the records. So she went and looked. And even though, despite being told by the person at the front desk that you would send a vet back there had been no vet visit, no follow-up, nothing. And they still took them to surgery. And not once through all their paperwork did they ever record a temperature. Never, ever. They never, either they didn't check it or they didn't document it. But in the nursing world and medical records and in compliance, if you didn't document it, it wasn't done. So according to that rule, they never, ever once took their temperature. And I said, okay, so do you want me to take them back into your vet right now? Because they need to be seen right now. Like they're very, very, very sick. And she just said, no, you're going to have to just go to one of your own, which by the way, is the opposite of what it says in the folder of the paperwork. So I've got this, like, my frustration is starting to build. And, I don't like to assume and I don't like to presume, but at the same time, it really just feels like they were just going to euthanize these dogs and they were just sitting there suffering until they were, going to be euthanized. I could make a lot of assumptions and a lot of frustrating, statements right now, but I'm going to not do that. I'm going to try to have integrity. So, but it will be followed up on. You can assure that. So I just take them. I called Robin. I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I can't come home right now. Are you okay with the kids? Because I need to take these dogs to the vet right now. So we didn't have the money in our account. We didn't know how we were going to do this, but like, I'm not going to sit here and watch these dogs die. And I wish I had the finances to do that and the resources to do that with every dog. Like I could cry about it right now. There's like 2 in the shelter that I saw today that I would just give anything to have the resources to go get. I'll do the work. I'll take them out in the middle of the night, every few hours. Like I'm a mom. I'm used to that. I'm committed. But we just don't have the finances to do it. So that's why giving really, really does make a difference because we are only 2 people and we give a lot to a lot of different things. So having money for stuff like this, we just don't. But so we've just asked God to provide because I'm not going to let these babies just sit and die, right? And there's so many more that are every day, which is my goal to go in and try to fight legislation as well. I just need time to be able to do this. So I've gotten some things done over the last couple of months. And really, the last month, I've been working really hard to get some courses and things like that out and books and whatnot so that we can try to increase our income so we can do more things like this. But also, I homeschool. So I have to be available for my kids and I want to be available more for ministry. So it's just kind of like juggling these things, but I'm doing fine in it because that's what God's called me to do. Right. And He's graced me for it. So I take them to the vet and Abby was running 104.6 temperature and Arlo was running 105.5. And mind you, at 106 is when brain damage and organ damage starts to happen. So they were just hours away from dying or having permanent damage at all, with definitely within 24 to 48 hours of dying. Who knows when they ate last, they wouldn't eat or drink for us at all. So the vet comes in and I end up needing to admit them, as most of you know, to the vet inpatient hospital. So I admit them and I'm like, God, we're just going to trust you for finances. Like I have no idea what we're going to do. So we are still believing for the money for that to come in. We did have a couple hundred come in, which I'm super grateful for, like beyond grateful for. It helps so much. But we do need more. Like right now we're at 2,300 and counting, I think, for these dogs, because I have to go back for, and this is just at the vet. This isn't counting all of their food and medical supplies and like all the supplies I have to have at home for them. We had to buy new crates, dog food, all this stuff. Um, so, and all of their stuff has to be separated from ours because they're contagious. So they're in a different room in the house. They use a different yard. It's quite a hassle, but they're worth it, right? Every life is worth it. So we had them inpatient and I ended up getting to bring Arlo home the day before Abby. And then I ended up bringing Abby home. They really struggled. They had never had any type of real human interaction, but Arlo just soaked it up and so has Abby. And she's just really come out of her shell. And Arlo has just really taken to me. Like I'm very much in love with him. And I do love her as well, but she is available for adoption. And the sooner the better, just because I can't give her a lot of one-on-one attention or him at the moment, really, because we have so many dogs here. And, we run the rescue and the dog training business and Fireside Grace. And then we have our kiddos at home. We don't do daycare or anything like that. So it's just a lot. But we get it done. And I'm not complaining, but it is great if our dogs that are ready to be adopted out could get foster to adopt, like if they're still sick or adopted out. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, Brandy at experttraining.org. So I'm posting this update on our page because a lot of people here have had questions. But what I'm going to do is just put this in my Expert Dog Training YouTube. And then for future updates, you can sign up for a membership on our website, experttraining.org, and go to members and sign up. Or you can, and that's just subscribing to the website. It's free. It's just, you get my blogs on dog training, videos that come out and updates that I send through emails, etc. Just like when you're a member of Fireside Grace. So I will be posting this video on Expert Dog Training, and you can go watch it there. I'll send the link out. Okay. So they come home super lethargic. It was really hard. The vet didn't know that if they would make it through the night. And then the next night, and then they came home a couple, 2 or 3 nights later. So he was 2 nights later, she was 3 nights later. And they were just super lethargic, coughing, coughing, coughing. So I had a test done on them to determine what it was they were fighting. Well, it turns out not only did they have canine influenza, but they had H3N2 influenza, type A influenza, canine adenovirus, two, which affects their digestive system, causes blood in the stool, intestinal infections, things like that. They also had pneumovirus as well as coronavirus. So they had 5 different things going on top of double pneumonia in both lungs, bacterial for both dogs, plus a bacterial infection in Abby's stomach from the adenovirus too. So these dogs like just had it out for them and they were starving. So they didn't have anything in their immune system as puppies to help them fight this stuff. So it's just, I really believe that God wanted them here or they wouldn't have made it. They made it through all this continuous appetite stimulants, around the clock antibiotics, IV fluids, nebulizing treatments, capage, all the things. And so we've continued to do all the things at home. And they're on antibiotics and they were on pain medicine for the coughing and stuff like that. But they're recovering now. And Arlo has potty trained wonderfully. Abby is still trying to get over the intestinal um, bacterial infection, which Arlo didn't have that. So that was a little easier for him, but she's still making progress. She's still doing good. She's getting used to the environment. They're literally the most cuddly and sweetest dogs ever. So they're actually 19 weeks old. We thought originally they were 3 months old, but the vet ended up telling us they were 18 weeks last week. So they're 19 weeks this week. So if you want to adopt one of them, that would be great. They're up to date on vaccines, spayed, all those things. Okay. So we also have another one up for adoption on our website as well, expertdogtraining.org. And then you can click adoption as the tab, or Shalom Sanctuary. And then adoption is under the sanctuary page for what dogs we have available for adoption. So when we got them home, like I've given you a little update already, but I had to take Abby back because she has started having copious amounts of blood in her stool. And then we just put her on a new antibiotic. And I'm doing probiotics and bone broth and all those good things that we know to do as parents. And all the good probiotic stuff for the gut to help heal. Just trying to build her immune system and all that. And then she made it through that too. And that's pretty much tapered away now. We've pretty much got that under control. And now they are at home healing. We do need to go back for x-rays for both of them, and heartworm, flea, and tick meds again for their updated ones here anytime. They're ready for this stuff, but we just haven't had the finances come in. Their vaccines aren't due for a couple of weeks. I think 2 weeks, but their x-rays are due anytime that we can go back for them. So that's where we're at with that. We are still at a large deficit financially there, but I just have no doubt that our bank account is filled in the name of Jesus and that we have more than enough to take care of these babies because they are his puppies. So that's our update. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I also just came out with a brand new course that I will be posting a video about in just a little bit, called the Best Online Dog Training Course. And this is for owners, this is for handlers, or this is for trainers. So if this is something that you've been looking for and you wanted to increase your knowledge about dogs and how to best teach your dog and train your dog in ways that are super effective, that get really cool results really quickly, please stay tuned for that, because that also helps pay our bills and helps us run the rescue as well. So I love you guys. Like and subscribe to this YouTube page, become a member at our page, experttraining.org, and let me know if you have any questions about the dogs, if you'd like to become a foster, or if you would like to per se sponsor one of the dogs that's in adoption or in foster in my care right now. And then you can just sponsor the bills that they have upcoming, or their food, or, callers you can send them, or anything like that, to be a part of the process. We also have a dog coming in July that I'm keeping for the entire month of July, and I'm training him to be a service dog for a veteran who we have given over half off our fee. So if you want to be a part of doing something like this, you can again donate PayPal Shalom Sanctuary 1. You can give on Venmo. You can just ask how the best way is to give through an email, or you can go to my website again, experttraining.org, and then go to the tab Shalom Sanctuary. And that goes over our partnering with us options as well. All right. Bless you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and caring about these puppies. Bye bye.